Welcome to another episode of Redesigning Your Relationships Live. I am your host, Giovanna Burgess-White, with my co-host.
Hello, I'm Yvette Baldenegro.
And we've missed you guys. We had a week off. I say we had a week off, but we didn't have a week off. We had an amazing summit that we were part of, and we had our podcast manager pick our most favorite or most downloaded podcast last week. So that's why you didn't see us live. But we're here, we're back, and we have like a special 2-part series for you.
Yeah. So welcome. First, before we move forward, go back behind you and show. If you didn't think we were dorky enough, bam. There we go. We want to say thank you because these were our gifts for being the connection coaches at the She Summit. Gio and I we love supporting conferences. We love supporting women, and we love when we get to be, we've kind of coined it the connection coaches, but it's really making sure that people feel welcome, connected with other people, start to build community and collaboration and what that all really means during a conference, the how-tos. So we want to just say thank you for that. And then I feel like for anybody listening, first of all, we love teaching, we love giving information, and we love giving resources, but a lot's happening, and I'll just say for me, because this is going to be my story first, a lot has been happening personally for me. And I thought to myself, nothing's better than when people who are actually teaching stuff, right? And I'm just going to shit. Listen, if you have children in the car, just know I'm going to be saying shit. When shit hits the fan, we have to respond and we have to react. And so I said to Gio, there's a lot happening. We're not the only people. Everyone out there goes through stuff. And when shit hits that fan, what happens? What literally happens? That's when reality hits. And so I wanted to have a 2-part series and just talk about the realities of that and how we cope with it, what we go through, and in hopes that it really just shows we're real people too. And the things that we teach, we say it over and over and over, but what I'm about to share today, I think is going to bring it home to the reality of, oh my God, yes, crap happens.
What we teach, we do. What we're teaching, to our clients, we've done, and we still do. And this is part of growth and change, and it's still a challenge, but my God, between the both of us, we're two completely different people that we were 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So I'm glad that we kind of paused on all the teaching, and today you're going to share, and then next week I will share. And I think it's going to be great for our listeners, for our clients, for our viewers. And if you're for the first time here, welcome, because you get the real raw, which we always are anyway, but the real raw truth on our lives and things that are going on, and how we show up as her, a completely different version of her than we would have showed up if this would have happened 6 months, a year ago. So, yes.
And I really, that's the thing I want to just stress. What I'm going to share didn't just happen overnight. I didn't happen overnight. I took 54 years to get here. 53. I don't know, whatever years it is. 53. Okay. So, where do I start? 2 weeks, I don't know, what do you know? 2 weeks ago, I received a notification on my Facebook page that my daughter's luggage had been found in the city of Los Angeles. And let me just say this before I get into it. I'm going to leave a lot of the story out. The point is the generality of what happened and then what transpired for me, because I think that's the real moment that I want to share, because there's so many more things that go with this. But there's nothing worse than receiving any kind of notification as a parent that something's wrong with one of your children. So when I got the notification, I immediately reached out to the lady and I got all the facts. What we surmised was that her luggage was missing in one location, 2 pieces of luggage with all her valuables in it. And then we found out later that her identification, passport, and everything was located a couple blocks down the road at a different location, different times. Now, by the time I got this information, because the lady was desperately trying to find people on Facebook that were connected to my daughter, it was from a Friday to a Wednesday night. Prior to that Friday of the missing luggage, when we backtracked and we started, because, the first thing you do is you say to yourself, what can I do? How do we find this person? Let's start locating friends and family and people that may have noticed that maybe she's missing, or maybe they know, maybe she went somewhere, for all we know. But the big thing was, you don't just leave your luggage on a sidewalk. So of course, as a mom, you start thinking, oh my God, right? Like the tailspin, and I'm not kidding you. You can go from 0 to 100 in 1 second. It doesn't take long to start thinking, what about, oh my God, it could be this, it could be that, da, 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 da. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll just give the scenario and then my personal thoughts. Anyway, when we did the research, and of course we're here in Texas, she's in California. The minimum that we could even do was to find out that from June of this year to when I got the call, no one had physically seen her, right? There were people who'd said, oh yeah, I got this or I got that, or no one had physically seen her. And so all she had was a digital footprint at that time, which we know that in this day and age, that doesn't mean someone's okay just because you receive an email or they're taking money out of their bank or whatever. That doesn't mean anything. So fast forward, she's okay. I want to say that. Thank God we found her. There was, depending on how you look at it, 5 to 10 days where she was 100% not accounted for. And she was technically a alerted missing person in the Los Angeles area. If you look up right now, you can Google, you will see that her picture, I think at least 2 days ago, was still up there. There are article after article of her missing. And so it was a huge thing and a big ordeal. But what I want to say is, without getting emotional, is that amongst the crap that was happening and the shit that was happening, in the back of my mind, like I said, you play those negative thoughts over and over and over of what if. I mean, I went to bed literally telling myself, I was meditating. I was reaching out to people that I knew were very supportive. I was getting very supportive calls. But when I put my head on my pillow at night, I had to fight like hell to not engage in negative thoughts of the what ifs. I had to 100% engage in hope, faith. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be raw. When I was meditating, I was trying to even send her love and positive vibes and whatever's going on, whatever's happening. I don't know the unknown, which is a whole different thing I want to talk about at some other time, because there is a power in the unknown, whether we know it or not. And I feel like I personally tapped into that. I didn't know, I had no answers. And for me, being an Enneagram 8, being a control person extraordinaire that I actually kind of like, it's like, I like it. I like being in control. It's like someone just rips you open, rips you apart, and I don't have control. I 100% did not have control of the scenario. I was trusting other people. I was trying to figure out things, but internally I was a hot mess, fighting and struggling against my own thoughts. But I noticed something. I noticed the woman, the mom, the person, just so much how much I love her. I was responding in such a different way than say I had before I even started this personal growth journey. I'm not kidding. You can ask my kids. They'd probably be like, oh, you have no idea. I would have been freaking out, yelling, stressed out, everybody leave me alone, just in my own little stress bubble, trying to figure it all out. I cannot tell you. I seriously sat on my bed for probably 2 days in a row doing investigative 101 PI work, trying to get stuff done. And I don't know how to describe a peace when there's not peace. There was no peace on the outside. There was no nothing. It wasn't like we had answers. The detectives in LA were taking their sweet time. It was just horrid. But internally, even though I was fighting those negative thoughts, there was a me piece. And I don't even know how to not oh, it's just going to be fine. It wasn't like that. It was you be who you need to be the mom for her, do 110%, take care of the kids that are here, focus in on what you need to do, be balanced, whatever that means in the moment, right? because you're just wacky, but it's like you have to go ground. I went on walks. Like I said, I received amazing phone calls from people that just really helped. But I really realized after it, because it's like being hit by a Mack truck and you're in an accident. You know how when you're in an accident, you really don't feel the jolt of your body or the physical side of it until like days later.
Yeah.
I felt that days later. It was like my body finally, when we knew she was safe, was able to relax. But my body was like, yeah, you may be relaxing, but you were doing this. And so then I physically felt it. And all I wanted to do was sleep. So I'm not saying that nothing of this is like saying I didn't feel or that I was numb. I don't think I was numb. And I can tell you in other situations in my life in the past, I went numb, because when something's so great, it's like you just want to turn off who you are, and it just happens and happens and happens and you shut down. I didn't shut down. I didn't run. I didn't I didn't excuse anything. I was like present in the moment, trying to figure it all out. And I don't know, it was, again, that was the peace, the tiny bit of peace internally in my soul while I was scrambling and trying to make everything happen the best that I could. And so I really wanted to just share that, because I know in the midst of when we have our coaching and our workshops and the conferences and what people see on Instagram and, our own growth journeys, sometimes it may just seem like, oh, well, Yvette Geo just have it all together. And, they're doing this, that, and that. No, no one has it all together. We're all humans. We all work through things. We're all trying to figure out the shit in life. It just so happens, and I'm going to say this boldly, it just so happens that Geo and I teach, are ingrained and engulfed in a personal development that goes beyond like, oh, this is just self-care. It's so much more deeper. It takes time. It's been work. And I've never been so more grateful for something than in the moment when you have to go and reach out and find things that or I should say, reach out within yourself and find things that you are like surprised that they're even there. And I equate it to like kind of like a bank account. I've been putting in my bank account my emotional stability, my mental abilities, everything, just that inner peace. I've been slowly, day after day after day after day, putting into a reservoir of incredibleness. Like whatever you want to say it. It's just like this emotions. I mean, like everything. I've just been putting these deposits every single day. So I'm so thankful that when I needed to pull from it, and for myself, because let's just be real. Not everybody has a support system. Not everybody has friends to lean on. Not everybody has loved ones. And so you sometimes do find yourself in moments where you don't have anybody to help. And I'm thankful that I did, but I'm also thankful to myself that I did have something to pull from in a great time of need, where it's probably the most horrific and scariest point in a parent's life, when you think that you're in any circumstance, whether it's disease, sickness, car accidents, they're lost, whatever it may be, that it's like a helpless feeling of, I love this person so much. What in the world am I going to do? And how am I going to quote unquote survive this when I'm trying to figure out if they're surviving? Yeah. That's really hard.
Yeah. I know. I'm so happy you shared this. I mean, I've been on this journey with you, and these last 3 weeks have been, it's been an emotional challenge, but I do have to say that I know I'm extremely proud of you, because I've seen the growth, and that's a perfect example, and nobody wants to ever be in that situation. But the what is if you just broke down and didn't and lost your shit? You have 3 other kids here. You have a business that you still have to run. Not that I couldn't have run it for you, but this isn't like something that we're sharing this because this is real. Like, this is the reality of like what mode you could have gone into. You've been there before. You've done it in other situations. versus what you did for yourself. And the number one thing here is that you did what you needed to do for you first. When we are just programmed to do what I need to do for everyone else. And if you would have done that, you wouldn't even been able to share this story. God only knows what would have happened if you would have gone down that hole. And I think that that's where, we don't share a lot. And I think it's all because we're such givers and we're servers. And it's crazy that we're having this. This is not, obviously, we don't have anything rehearsed, or, we have an outline of what we think we're going to do. But even this past week when we had conference, I did a workshop. So many people asked questions about you and I that I was just like, I think it's the first time in the 5 years that we've really been doing this and been around people and serving in our communities that people have asked. And it was just like it took me back in Q&A when someone was like, can you tell me like about you? And I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe we do need to kind of pause and rethink. Like, we need to start sharing. And although we share everything on social media and we absolutely love with our families and all the things, like even our journeys and like where we were a year ago to where we are now, I think that's in perspective for a lot of people who know us. I think just showing the road and showing where we've had the forks, where the shit has hit the fan, and just being real about it, because we have nothing to be ashamed about. If anything, I think it's going to help the women understand why we do what we do, and why are you waiting? Why are you waiting to really have a relationship with yourself? Because this is a huge situation, small situation, it doesn't matter. Business, life, kids, partner, you got to put yourself first. You got to be aware of your emotional, like you said, your bank, your emotional, your spiritual, your health, all the banks. Are you okay? Because you could have, like I said, you could have been in a completely different state of mind, which would have the ripple effect to the kids, to the rest of the world, your people, it would have been negative. And instead, it's not like you were faking it. I mean, you're being in your emotions, you're being real, and the community that you needed reached out to you, which I think was fantastic. It's not about doing it alone. It's about doing you first, and then everything kind of falls into place. And we're super thankful that, everything's great with Gabriella, but I'm thankful for you telling the story. I'm also thankful for you hearing the story, because it's also about you telling it and listening to yourself and being able to go and do what we tell our clients and going back and watching yourself and listening to yourself. It's a self-coaching moment, and we were able to put it online.
Yeah. Okay. And before we jump off, I just want to kind of turn this into like a little public service announcement too, as far as just like a couple things. One is when you're in the moment and something like this happens, no matter how, like Gio just said, intense or not intense, it's intense to you. It's whoever goes through whatever, it's like affecting you, right? Really concentrate on the difference between an emotional response and factual responses. I kept telling myself over and over, don't listen to an emotion or like someone saying, oh my God, da, 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 da. Well, is that a fact?
Right.
Because I only want to listen and know facts right now, because facts are going to make the difference. Facts are going to move the ball down the road, or facts are going to tell me where my daughter is, not an emotion. I don't need an emotion right now. So really focus in on the emotions. The other one is be thankful for the community that is helping you. I'm so thankful for just the people that came forward to say, I'll help with this, I'll help with that, because it makes all the difference in the world, especially when someone goes missing, because the police just don't have the manpower to respond as quickly as we do. So it's really important. And then I am going to put in the show notes just a whole list, particularly from this situation, of phone numbers, contacts, because I realized in the moment, all of a sudden you're like, who do I turn to? What, like when it's like, that is not the time to be researching missing, found people. There's a whole group in Texas. There's the movie that just came out. I mean, for, sex trafficking, missing people, the whole nine yards. I'm like, there are resources and there are amazing people with feet on the ground that are wanting to volunteer and help in any way. So in those moments, you need to know who those people are to reach out and get the help.
Yeah, we'll put that on our show notes, and we'll also put it on our website and our resources, because I think it's important to, like, real quick, if anyone's listening to this or watching us and they're like, oh my God, or at any time the universe works in mysterious ways, we'll have that available also on our website. So
Yeah.
well, thank you. I know it's a beautiful episode. Thank you guys for listening, watching, and thanks for letting us know that you want to hear more about us. I think it's so crazy. We do like 80% giving and 20% us, and I think it's the season of letting you guys know more about us. So whatever it is that you want, we'll be here next week for part 2. I have some stuff to share, and then if there's things that you want to know, part of our growth, our transitions, our change, any relationship in our lives that you want us to talk about, then we'll put a show on for you, and that's what we're here for. So if you want to see us before then, just check out what we're doing on our social media, on our calendar of events. It's been the summer. It's been hot girl summer. We've been everywhere, and we're super excited. And if you're watching this in real life, in IRL, we do have another spot left for our retreat. So if you are ready to unplug and just really unplug for 48 hours, like do you for 48 hours, reset, join us. We'll be in Round Top at the end of August, and we would love to have you. So we'll be back next week with part 2. Thank you for being here. You know how to contact us.